Earlier, you saw how we can use the final keyword to define constants. In Java, we have the concept of enums, which also allows us to define constants. So in here, let's say that we want to have a constant for gender, i.e. male or female. So here, I'm going to say enum. So literally just outside of the public static void main method, say enum, and then here I'm going to say gender. So make sure this is capital G and then followed by lowercase. So that is the naming convention. So here now I can define the set of constants. So here I can say male, comma, and then female. Now you can see that this is my constant. If I want maybe to have a constant for t-shirt sizes, so here I'm going to say enum, and then I want to say t-shirt and then size, and here I'm going to have S, comma, M, comma, and then L and maybe XL, for example. So now you can see I do have two enums, so one for gender and the other one for defining t-shirt sizes. So these now are the values that I can use for these enums. So let's now use them. So here, if I want to use the enum itself, I just call the enum name, so gender dot and then male, for example. So here, let me just print this just like that. And now if I run this, you can see that this now gives me male. So this is uppercase male. If I want to use female, I can say the same. So here, duplicate this, and instead of male, I can say female. Run it, and you can see it's all in uppercase. The same with size. So basically, you just refer to the enum name and then whatever value you want. So S, M, L, or XL. Now, you might be saying, right, so I can define an enum or I can define a constant using enum. So what is the difference between us having the following? So here, I'm going to say public, static, final, and then I'm going to say, for example, male or string, and then male equals to, and then male. And maybe you want female as well, right? So female, and here as well, female. So this is also a constant, and this is also a constant. Now, the reason really for having enums is that now you have a data type that you can work with, i.e. in this case, gender or t-shirt size. Whereas in here, you kind of don't have a type because these are strings. So maybe you can do stuff like this. So here, let's just get rid of that. And then in here, let's just create a new class and let's just say gender, for example. There we go. And then inside of gender, let's put these constants. Now have a look. So if I go back in here, so the way I would use the genders from the gender class is the following. So here I'm going to say south and then gender and then pick this one here. So not the enum, but the class and then dot. So here, have a look. So the type of it is a string. So this actually gives me the fully qualified name because they have the exact same name. Or in fact, let me just basically refactor this, rename, and then gender, and then constants. There we go. Now, if I go back here, I don't need the fully qualified name. But this now right here is a class, and within that class, I do have the female in here. The same for male. So let's just print male in here. There we go. And if I run this, this is the exact same thing. Now, the difference really is the type. So what's the type of this female in here. So the type is a string. Have a look. String female. The same for male. String male. Whereas in here, the type of it is gender. So we gain a type which is much better than just having a string, because a string could be anything really. And let's say that, for example, within gender constants, we have in here, a gender that doesn't exist, for example. So here I could change this to maybe foo, for example, right? So therefore, this is not a valid gender. But here we kind of have more control. So within the enum, so here we have full control of the all available options for a gender, and they are encapsulated within this enum. Furthermore, we actually have more information that we can store within this enum. Now, we're not going to cover this right now because we still have to cover classes and constructors, but generally speaking, if you want to define constants, so this is how you do it. For example, a color, right? So you have a color, blue, yellow, so on and so forth. Now, technically speaking, what you want to do is to have these in their separate files. So right click, new Java class, and then name this as gender. Oops, I've got a typo there. So let me just right click, refactor, rename, and then this is gender, and go back to main. I can take this and get rid of this enum right here. Go back to gender. So this actually is meant to be an enum, right? So let me actually delete this and do it again. So here, delete this, delete anyway. So right click, new Java, and then select enum. I forgot to do this. Now here, this will be gender, and I can paste male or female. The same with t-shirt size. Let me just grab this name, right click, new Java class, enum, paste the name, and go back, grab all of these files, or values, my bad, get rid of that, go back to t-shirt size, and here we have all the sizes. So if we want to attach more information to this specific size, we can do it, but I'll teach you that later. And if I go back to main, so here, this is the preferred way of defining constants in here. So not like this, but using enums, right? So I'm going to leave some explanation why again, but use enums, for example, if you want to define, let's say we want to define a new enum in here, and enum, this will be, for example, a color. Maybe you have blue, you have black, you have yellow. Maybe you want to define an enum for month, for example. So month. So this will be January, or actually it should be enum, my bad. I don't know why I keep on forgetting. January, Feb, and then March, so on and so forth. Now, I was saying that you can attach data into this by passing something known as a constructor. And for example, here, the number value for this month would be 1. But this is complaining because we haven't learned about this. So don't worry about this because I'm going to teach you all of this later. But in a nutshell, this is how to create enums. So use enums for defining constants, and constants are values that do not change.